This is the Citroen Basalt, and it's got a rear end that most plastic surgeons would be really proud of. So the way it looks, its design is an obvious reason for why you'd want one. Is there more to it though? The pièce de résistance, I know I've murdered the pronunciation, is this sloping roofline that slopes into a rather stubby boot. Even when you view the Basalt dead on, you'll notice that the car is wide, and that width is amplified from the rear by these tail lamps that swoop into the rear quarter panel. And they've got a nice 3D effect going on, the frosted look. Onto the side, you'll notice it's a really long car, and it will give you that buddy gadi feeling. But those 16-inch wheels, machine finish, ye size ne, I think Citroen should have and could have given us 17-inch wheels. You've got nice little orange detailing there and a random chrome strip on the door for whatever reason. ORVMs the exact same as the C3 AirCross, but they now get a power folding function. The face, if you've seen the C3 AirCross, it's a Control-C, Control-V. What is new, however, are these white LED projector headlamps. The LED daytime running lamps, the grille, and the overall front fascia remains quite similar to the C3 AirCross. Now, Citroen is offering the Basalt with interesting color options, including a red and a deep blue. And I'd honestly pick these loud colors because they get more likes on Instagram. Getting in and out of the Citroen Basalt is an easy affair. Even the elders in your family are not going to complain. Once you're inside, sense of deja vu because this cabin is identical to the C3 hatchback and the C3 AirCross SUV as well. What I like about the dashboard is that it does not stretch out into the windscreen. It's nice and compact, and that enables Citroen to liberate more space for the occupants. In terms of color theme, Citroen has opted for a very safe beige, black and metallic silver combination, which I quite like. There is no use of soft touch material here, but I'm not really going to complain about it because the kind of textures that Citroen has opted for, the quality of plastic is quite nice. It makes the cabin feel like a very pleasant place to be. This geometric detailing on the mid portion of the crash pad, in fact even the graining of the plastic used on the lower half of the dash is quite nice. It feels like something that you could live with on a daily basis. There's gloss black around the AC vents and the center console. The AC vents get a nice silver outline, makes the cabin look a little richer. There is part leather, part fabric upholstery. The seats have leather for the most part, except for the top half. But what I do like is that there is leather on the door pad, and that actually feels quite premium. From a functional standpoint, what is different is this central area. It has been raised slightly, mostly to accommodate this new central armrest that has a sliding function, and it also opens up and there is a storage space there as well. No dearth of practicality at all. You've got a nice shelf for your wallet. There's a wireless charger down there that you can use to charge your phone. A couple of cup holders here, a little space here where you can probably store your air freshener or put in your keys. The doors have a 1 liter bottle holder and some space, so no real issue on the practicality front either. From a feature standpoint, what the Basalt is doing is it's ticking the basics just right, but absolutely nothing more than that. The seat is adjustable for height. The steering wheel can be adjusted for rake and not reach. You get a 7-inch digital driver's display, which I think is kind of small for a car this size, and it's quite limited in the kind of information it shows also. You've got a nice leather wrapped steering wheel with audio controls, call controls and controls for the digital driver's display. The feature additions include an automatic climate control. You've got wireless charging as well. The touchscreen remains the same as the other Citroen cars. 10 inches in size. You get wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. It's paired with a basic sound system that sounds alright. If you are an audiophile, you might want to consider upgrading. It is hooked up to a reverse camera, which isn't the best, I'd say. It does not get dynamic guidelines either, so that is a bit of a miss. What is also missing is a sunroof. There's no cruise control and there is no push button start either. Now I know a lot of you will say, hey, the Creta and Seltos offer so much more. You've got ADAS, you've got panoramic sunroof, you've got seat ventilation, all of that. But what we need to remember is that the C3 AirCross and in effect the Basalt will operate in a slightly different price point. The top spec C3 AirCross Automatic, for instance, is nearly 2.5 lakh rupees cheaper than the base spec Creta Automatic. Yes, a sunroof, cruise control and keyless go should not have been skipped, but for the price that you'll be paying, the feature list isn't all that bad. Alright, on to the rear seat of the Citroen Basalt, and I have to say this is a clear-cut highlight and probably a reason why you'd want to buy this car. The rear seat space on offer is probably the best in class. Look at the amount of knee room I have. I am roughly 6 foot tall. This seat is set to my driving position and foot room is great as well. Despite the sloping roofline, I've got about 4 fingers worth of headroom. And I don't really feel claustrophobic. The car feels wide. You can seat 3 occupants here, but the rear seat has not one but 2 party tricks. Party trick number 1, you have adjustable under thigh support. How cool is that? Second, the headrests for the outward seats, they have these nice butterfly shaped headrests, so you can lounge in comfort here. The armrest too is nice and wide. It gets a couple of cup holders. You can probably stack your phone here. You've got rear AC vents, a couple of Type A charging ports. And yeah, this is definitely a very nice place to be. And if you're wondering why the seat belts are buckled, yeah, you've got seatbelt reminders for all seats, but no load sensors at the rear. That is cost cutting, but you win some, you lose some, I guess. Now that is what 470 liters of boot space looks like. In real world scenarios, we've been able to pack a couple of cabin size suitcases, a couple of check-in size suitcases, 3 backpacks and a little bit of camera gear. This is a genuinely spacious boot. A small complaint is that the rear seat does not get a 60-40 split, so you don't really get the versatility that you'd want from a luggage space like this. But other than that, you can really pack in luggage for the whole family for that weekend road trip. Also, if you want to pull the hatch down, this might feel a little tall for those of us who are vertically challenged. There is a handle here, but I wish there was a larger pull type handle to actually pull this tailgate down. We've been driving the new Basalt in a very rainy Goa, so forgive us if you hear the rain pitter-pattering every now and then. Anyways, with the Basalt, Citroen is offering a choice of 2 engine options, both 1.2 litre, both 3-cylinder, but one with a turbo and one without. Yes, these are the exact same engines that you get with the C3 hatchback as well. The NA engine is available only with a 5-speed manual, but if you pick the turbo, you get to choose between a 6-speed manual and a 6-speed automatic. Interestingly, it is the automatic that has a higher torque rating at 205 Newton meters. Now, even if you compare the specs of the 1.2 turbo of the Basalt, the numbers aren't particularly exciting. 110 PS of power, 205 Nm of torque. But then bear in mind, you shouldn't be comparing these to the 1.5 turbos of the Seltos, the Creta or the Taigun Kushaq. The numbers are more comparable to the NA engines of the Creta, Seltos or even the Grand Vitara and the Hyryder for that matter. Is the performance super exciting? Well, no. Is it adequate? Absolutely. In terms of everyday use and even for highway drives, I don't think you'll be left wanting for more power. You'll never feel that, hey, the car's kind of underpowered and I really need some more from that engine. But you might say that, however, of the 6-speed automatic. It feels slightly sluggish, especially when you want to exploit that gap in traffic or just dance out of your lane to make that quick overtake on the highway. That will require planning for sure. Bottom line, if you enjoy driving in a relaxed manner, you should have absolutely no issues with the Basalt Turbo. A bit I feel Citroen could have done better in the overall package is the NVH. Granted, it is a 3-cylinder engine, you will have some vibrations, it is inherent to its nature, but you kind of feel them all the time on the floorboard, the pedals and sometimes the steering wheel as well. That does not feel like a particularly pleasant experience. Other than that, from an everyday drivability standpoint, from an occasional road tripper standpoint, you should have no complaints from the turbo engine. Now, speaking of road trips, Citroen is known for their really comfy ride quality. Now, as you might know, Goa has some really stellar roads and we're struggling to find potholes, and we can't really show you shots of the Basalt going through really rough surfaces. But we've driven the C3 and the C3 AirCross enough to have high expectations of the Basalt and know that it will tackle those surfaces quite comfortably. In the conditions that we've driven the Basalt in, it's not really given us a reason to complain in terms of ride comfort. Low speed ride is great, cushioning is adequate, and the best part about this suspension setup is that it works in relative silence. Even on the highway at 100, 120, you have enough composure from the setup there to make you feel confident. And given that the ride is so good, it almost makes you want to excuse Citroen for giving 16-inch wheels instead of 17s or large 18-inch wheels. From a handling standpoint, I'd say the Basalt is quite neutral. It is one of those cars that you will enjoy driving in a flow, but not particularly enjoy pushing it every corner you see. You will feel that the steering is slightly slow to respond and there is a hint of body roll as well, but absolutely nothing that will bother you on your vacation drives. Finally, before we wrap this section up, let's talk safety. On the Basalt, what we're hearing from Citroen is that the structure itself has been reworked, not just on the Basalt but also the C3 and the C3 AirCross, for better crash test rating and better crash protection. Now, we need to see what Bharat NCAP rates this car, but till then we'll have to take Citroen's word for it. They are backing up their word with quite a lot of substance. We've got 6 airbags, ESP, seatbelt reminders, all of that in the Basalt right from the base variant. Alright then, let's wrap this video up. Alright, here's the thing. The Citroen Basalt has a few but very well defined strengths. First up, the way it looks. Love it, hate it, you will simply not be able to ignore it. Second, and this came in as a genuine surprise, and that is in-cabin space. If you're looking for a comfortable 4-5 seater for your family, the Basalt is something that should be on your consideration list, especially if you value rear seat comfort. There is the added bonus of the boot. 470 liters will swallow pretty much everything you throw at it, and this is backed up by Citroen's really comfy ride quality. So if you're looking for a long distance road tripper, the Basalt really checks that box. Yes, it's not the most exciting to drive, and in terms of features, it is really leaving a lot of boxes unchecked. But you have to bear in mind that the Basalt will operate at a price point that is similar to the mid-spec Cretas and Seltoses of the world. Citroen has announced an introductory starting price of Rs 7.99 lakh. Bear in mind, this is for the base version with the non-turbo engine. The top spec automatic variant that you see in the video is expected to retail at around 13.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom. At that price, the Basalt really is a hatke option from your usual choices.